Film Radio from the Berlinale. I'm Angelo Acerbi with Lance Hammer for the Film Queen at Sea. Good morning.
Good morning.
You showed us a movie about dementia, but from the point of view of the caregivers, which is a point of view very unsettling and very complicated. Why did you choose that?
Because a couple of reasons. One, that it isn't the point of view that most films about dementia take. They almost always take the point of view of the person suffering dementia. And to me, I understand that, because that's just basic dramaturgy. But in this case, it's special because someone with dementia, you can't know what they're thinking. At a certain point, they become pretty opaque. Mm-hmm. And so you can't, it's preposterous, in my opinion, to make a film from the point of view of somebody you can't understand. So, but you can understand this, what the family deals with, the people that aren't suffering dementia, because they can communicate, and what they're saying is reliable. You can take it as reliable. And so it was important to me to show how the suffering, the meaning that happens to the caregivers, the people around, and the opacity that they have. There's nothing more cruel than knowing your beloved is suffering, but not knowing how.
Exactly, not knowing how to help them out. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why the character of Juliette Binoche is totally reliable for everyone, I think, in the world, because all of us have been through this.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, how did you work with her on building up her role? Because it's really intense and really believable and really painful.
Yeah, well, she has some personal experience in her life. It's not for me to comment on that. So she came to the project with a real emotional connection. But then the rest of it, well, more importantly than that even, is Juliette Binoche is Juliette Binoche. So there's no actor on the planet that can give you emotional truth like she can. And because whatever her alchemy is that she employs, she really feels, she's totally empathetic. And that character becomes her, or maybe she becomes, I don't know.
Well, whatever, which way around, but it's the same,
But then thirdly, and very importantly, is our workshopping phase. We spent a month workshopping this, and with my goal of being, okay, here's a script, and this is a starting point, but you now are the people that are going to play it. Juliette, Tom, Annie. And we workshopped together for a month as a family, every day, developing the characters through improvisation, through discussion, through mainly those, in the script. We knew what the scenarios were, but the scenarios were changed through this process, and the language was changed, and the dialogue was changed, and the actors would bring their own statements in, or their own opinions, and then we'd shift what the scene did, and that becomes highly personal and relatable for each actor, and it becomes them, and that's what I'm seeking. They're tremendous actors that have accomplished at the highest levels, but I wanted the real souls. I liked Tom, Courtney, and Juliette and Anna as people. I liked their emotion, their heart, and their soul, and I want you to see the real Juliette, the real Tom, wearing the clothes of a character.
There is always a fine and kind of dangerous line between realism and sentimentalism, and you manage in the movie to keep it real very much without giving up to easy, tear-jerking parts. How did you work on that? How did you balance this?
I don't know if I did.
Oh, you did.
And I never will know. I mean, thank you for saying that. The way I might know is other people telling me what they think, if that. But the best that I can do, so I'm an editor, and so in shooting it, you just go with instinct, and I'm hyper fearful of sentimentality in films, but I also know I want to achieve real human emotion that resonates deeply with a human heart, and that's, like you said, a very fine line. So the way I deal with it is largely relying on like this workshopping, extensively, intensively talking about the issue, we can't ever go into sentimentality. And when I see it, and when it's being filmed, it stops and we change it. And so I'm so critical of it, but I never know if I'm actually drifting into it. But then the editing phase is where I get the last chance to spot it, and I take forever, and I'm fixated on it. Mm-hmm. And if it ever smells like it's sentimental to me, I remove it. And sometimes I remove probably good stuff that wasn't sentimental.
Well, if you did, it doesn't show, honestly.
Okay. But I also feel there's some sentimentality in this film, and I wish we could have shot some things differently.
There is what comes out from the movie, at least to me, like I understood, is that what basically the body has memories that stay there even if the mind doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah.
So, and this is what happens to the lead, to the old lady, old lady with dementia.
Yeah.
And it's like the only way that she has to demonstrate to have control on her life is that sexual activity. So she can't do anything else.
And she can draw.
She can draw, but
yeah.
This is the only two things that. I mean, am I correct in saying that this one of your purposes in showing us this aspect of the illness?
Yes, it was one of my purposes to show that could be true. We don't know because we don't know what she's really thinking, and she can't communicate it to us. That could be true, and very likely it is. But one thing we do know from science, from geriatric psychiatry, is that disinhibition happens. So when the cognitive decline starts to happen, disinhibition is often one of the things. So it's, inability to suppress sexual thoughts, or things about hunger and sleep, need for sleep, or whatever. There's inability to control that, and so sexual urges might be just like to come out and expressed without any sort of restraint. But what you also can't, because you can't rely on those instincts as being, for example, if there's a sexual initiation by Leslie towards Martin, if she's initiating the sexual act, we don't know if it's genuine, if it actually could be harmful to her that she's doing that, and it's best that it isn't accepted by Martin. But it's also extremely difficult for a spouse that has lived with this person for decades to see when she's crossed the line, and she's no longer truly consenting to sex, but it's disinhibition and sexual urges just kind of randomly and instinctively popping out, but maybe it's harmful to her. Yeah. So, yeah, I was trying to show that.
Yeah. Well, actually, you did show that pretty perfectly to me, at least. I have one last question about you. The parallel about connected plot line of the niece finding out her body as a woman, so her first sexual encounter and stuff. Those two sexual lives are very connected, even if they doesn't look they don't look that much. Why did you choose to have this additional second plot line?
Yeah, so I don't know, there's some kind of esoteric ideas that help you when you're writing. Not that I necessarily say this is the truth about the way life works, but one of the more esoteric notions is that a family is connected, there's a same soul that they share, and so things pass, and even in just like depth psychology framing, that is true. A psyche is passed down because you learn it from the previous generation, and so there's a chain that you're part of a chain, so the same chain. And so I was trying to show this family psyche has had the full range of experience sexually, and Leslie has had that experience, her coming of age sexual moments. Amanda has had that, and now she has midlife sexual desires and problems, and then she's looking to the future and seeing what her mother's experiencing and saying, this could happen to me. And sex becomes taboo, but it starts all over again. And this is cruel and bleak and hopeless, what happens at end of life in dementia cases. And that's my understanding of it being true. But there's more to life than that. There's also, it starts over again, and there's beauty and joy and hopefulness and naivete and ignorance of end-of-life issues. And so that's also part of life. So it's an important part of life.
Well, thank you very much to Nancy Hammer for having been with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.